Have you ever stopped to wonder how Google pulls it off? I mean, how they manage transactions for billions of us all over the world at the exact same time without ever messing up? Well, today we're diving into Google Spanner, the database that literally changed the rules of the game on a global scale.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to go back to the early 2000s. Google had this huge problem, this fundamental dilemma. On one side, they had Bigtable, an incredible NoSQL database that was perfect for things like search, maps, and YouTube. It could scale to the moon and back. But on the other side, for things like ad transactions, you need ironclad consistency, the kind of guarantees you only got from traditional SQL databases. So you had a choice, massive scale or perfect consistency. You couldn't have both.
So faced with this pick one scenario, Google's engineers did what they do best. They decided not to choose. They basically said, no, we're going to build something new, something that could handle the whole planet and give them that perfect transactional consistency. They really wanted to have their cake and eat it too.
And this is where it gets really, really cool. This brings us to the core breakthrough, the absolute secret sauce that makes Spanner, well, Spanner. It all boils down to solving one of the hardest problems in computer science, synchronizing time.
The ultimate goal was something called external consistency. Now, the idea itself sounds simple, but the implications are just mind-bending. It means that no matter where a transaction happens, New York, Tokyo, London, the entire system agrees on the exact order. It's as if one single, super powerful computer was handling everything one by one. But how on earth do you do that when your data centers are thousands of miles apart? The answer, and this is the genius of Spanner, was a brand new technology they built called TrueTime. They figured out that to coordinate everything across the globe, they couldn't just have slightly better clocks. No, they had to totally change how a system thinks about time itself.
Okay, so how does it work? It's actually pretty brilliant. First, all the servers get their time from super accurate sources. We're talking GPS and atomic clocks. But here's the magic trick. TrueTime knows perfection is impossible. So instead of giving a single timestamp, it reports a tiny window of time. It basically says, okay, the true time is somewhere in this little interval, and then Spanner just waits. It waits for that tiny window of uncertainty to pass before it commits the transaction. That simple act of waiting guarantees that every event is ordered correctly everywhere on Earth.
So with TrueTime figured out, Spanner wasn't just some clever idea on a whiteboard anymore. It became the rock-solid foundation for Google's most important, their most mission-critical services.
And this is what it delivers. It's built to be spread across the entire globe. It scales out just by adding more machines. It gives you that strong consistency we've been talking about, but you can still talk to it with normal SQL. And it handles all the messy work of copying and spreading your data automatically. So if an entire data center goes down, the system doesn't even blink.
This quote really says it all. You think about financial systems, huge online stores, critical business apps. These are places where you just can't have oops moments. Spanner was built for exactly those scenarios, where the system has to be right every single time, no exceptions.
So where is this thing actually running? Well, it's quietly powering a lot of the Google experience you use every single day. The massive engine behind AdWords, parts of Gmail, the entire Google Play Store, and all of Google's own internal financial systems, they all depend on Spanner.
It is no exaggeration to call it the invisible backbone of your digital life. You probably never see it or even think about it, but its incredible stability and consistency is what makes so much of the internet just work. For years, Spanner was one of Google's best-kept secrets. It was this massive competitive advantage they had built internally. But, a technology this game-changing can't stay a secret forever.
The story here is pretty classic for Google. They started with Bigtable in the 2000s. Then, in 2012, the engineers published this landmark paper about Spanner, basically showing the world what they had built. And then, a few years after that, they took the next logical step.
Yep, in 2017, they blew the doors wide open. With the launch of Cloud Spanner, this incredible, planet-scale database wasn't just for Google anymore. It became a product that any developer, any company in the world could build on.
And what they offered was just amazing. It's a fully managed service, which means you don't have to worry about the atomic clocks and all that complex stuff. It just scales on its own. And it comes with a 5 nines availability guarantee. That's 99.999% uptime. To put that in perspective, that's just a few minutes of potential downtime in an entire year. That level of reliability, now available to everyone, is just wild.
So here's the thing. Spanner didn't just solve a problem for Google. It fundamentally changed the entire conversation around databases. It set a completely new standard for what we thought was possible.
Which leaves us with a really interesting question to think about. Spanner proved that you don't have to compromise between global scale and perfect consistency. So, in our world of global apps and services, has Spanner made good enough consistency a thing of the past? Is absolute perfect correctness now the baseline expectation for any system that truly matters? Something to chew on.